Alright, roll on in from the bar if you want to be here, because this is the group called Crushdepth. Thank you so much for being here tonight. We got 2 hot potatoes for you. This one's from our first record. on the porch.
Now, this next one is an unreleased song and it's a country and western song, so we are putting people through it tonight.
Tony, going after my heart.
Yee, and I can't emphasize this enough, haw. Oh, and may I have some more of the violin in my monitor, please? Thank you. This next song is a fiddle feature.
group, we're going to switch drummers. So this would be a good time for me to take a moment and thank everyone at Deep Cuts here for having us. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ryan on sound. Thank you, Joey, for booking the Know Your Scene series. Yeah, this is the call that we've been waiting for. When Joey texted me about wanting to do this, I played it so cool. I let it like sit there for like 20 minutes because I didn't want to seem too thirsty. And then I was like, yes, of course. Because of course. I remember when Ben and I were just youngsters back in 2021 watching mall cops play at Boynton Yards at a show headlined by Speedy Ortiz. And all these years later, look at us, huh? Who would have thought? Alright, this next song, I'd like to say this is our new single, but we ain't recorded it yet. At some point it'll be our new single.
Is it like a Korean
All actually been released. Wow, amazing. What a concept. And we do have merch. You can get a shirt in one of several sizes for $20, a sticker for $1, and the sticker's free if you get a shirt. Haggling is allowed. We take cash and Venmo. But you don't gotta.
Basically like the other side.
Alright, here's a couple.
And then if anybody wants to show up after that, it's
Set out to write about it, but the feeling it didn't last. Hit here around the start,
feels different than a small empty room. So thank you so much for filling the big room. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you to Nonsense who played today. What a day. The first ever Nonsense show, though Hector's been around. I've seen Autumn Astronaut a bunch of times. So I know him, and you know, made the Harmony Bobcat look good. No one I'd rather be sharing this moment with. From the bottom of my heart, beautiful night. Here's one. This is an unreleased one. We have a lot of those. We're hoping to record them real soon. It's better to have them and not need them than to. Alright, this song is for all the dogs and cats in the audience. That introduction worked at Porch Fest, it doesn't really work here. Pretend there's some dogs out there, this song is for them. This one's off leash. Members are here in the crowd tonight. I would name you all, but we all got places to be. It would take ages. So thank you, thank you, thank you. The scene is incredible. Bands come out to support bands. That's yeah, it's amazing. Perfect. I've seen you all before, and I'll see you again. Thank you so much for being here. This one is for the North Shore contingent. It's about a place very near and dear to my heart. It's about Beverly, Massachusetts. It's called Which City?
making the beat that moves your feet. Departing the stage, a man with ska in his blood. That's Pete Scary. Rejoining the stage, a man with blood in his ska. That's Ben Pierce. Playing the tasty riffs on the bass tonight, a man of many bands. You can come see him here on Friday as part of Mobius Trip. That's Claire Rocco. And over there, a shaper of young minds, including ours, that's George Phillips. My name's Tony, I wear this shirt. Blazer. Alright. I expect everyone to join me for picklebacks later. One of the many distinguishing features of deep cuts. It's kind of a rule. If a bar has picklebacks, you get picklebacks. I'll kind of make the rules. This one's a tender treat. This is an unreleased song, yet again. It's not a COVID song. I wrote it in early 2020. It sounds COVID-y, but I swear it's not. This one's Friday Night Friends. cliche this is, but I'm gonna say it again. Thank you so much. I mean, I don't have to tell you that the world is extremely cruel at every level, large and small. And it's just like everyone's trying. It's make you feel like small, make you feel crazy if you want something better. But you just like look around at the people in your community, and it's like they're trying to make things better. They want what you want. They want a better world. And you just look around at the gigs, and everyone here just like stands for something more, and I just love that. Hope isn't dead, but it's at your local venue making art on a Tuesday night. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for being here. All right, everyone's still kind of locked in. We're gonna play a customary closing song and then see how we're feeling. But this is maybe the last number. This is Cash Out and Leave. Tip your bartenders. See, I just feel old. Sometimes I feel mature. There's always one thing that makes me feel that way for sure. When I realize that the place I need to be is right outside the door. Walk home in the evening air, listening to your playlist. Walk down the bike path that's only a mile. Walk home in the evening air, thoughts come, I don't resist. Far in the front door, you cannot smile. When I feel my fear of missing out, at least for the night. No need to stick around until they turn the light. Better get out while we're getting good, while the feeling's right. Walk home in the evening air, listening to a playlist. Walk down